rise high again, lighting up the lane. Shadows dance on the ground in this silent town. Stars are shining bright, guiding us through night. Whispers in the wind, feel it on my skin. Mystery of the moon calls me in so soon, dancing in the light till the break of night. Eyes are wide open, dreams not yet broken. Feel the gentle sway of this moonlit day. Hear the heartbeat pound, love that's never found. In this lunar gleam, living in a dream. Mystery of the moon calls me in so soon, dancing in the light till the break of night. Eyes are wide and open brown, pulling both me in so soon, dancing in the light till the break of night. Eyes are wide and open brown, pulling both me in so soon, dancing in the light till the break of night. Moonlight, sky so bright, city sleeps all night. Quiet streets I roam, midnight feels like home. Footsteps echo soft, stars are shining aloft. Cool breeze whispers past, moments never last. Nighttime stories told, sleeps all night. Quiet streets, a room, at night feels like home. Footsteps echo soft. Stars are shining aloft. Cool breeze whispers past. Moments never last. Nighttime stories told. Memories unfold. In the silence find peace within the mind. Mind. Shadows dance so slow. Streetlights start to glow. Heartbeat steady drum. Find where I'm from. World asleep around. Peaceful with no sound. In this night I see who I'm meant to be. Nighttime story told. Memories unfold. In the silence find peace within the mind. Mind. Nighttime stories told, memories unfold. In the silence, find peace within the mind. Shadows dance so slow. Streetlights start to glow. Heartbeat steady drum. Find where I'm from. World asleep around, peaceful with no sound. In this night I see who I'm meant to be. Nighttime stories told, memories unfold. In the silent find peace within the mind. Shadows dance so slow.
Reactivo esto, sí.
Streetlights start to
Buenas tardes. Está interesante, David, sí. Ayer no se me abrió una operación por, creo que fueron $50. Me quería matar. Todo el día esperándola. Y por $50 se me fue. Pero nada, no pasa nada. Vamos a darle euro. A ver si el euro dólar llega a esa zona. Ay, Dios. Voy a estar un ratito hoy, una hora yo por lo menos. Después no sé si dejar el vivo. Entrenamiento dentro de un rato. Zona esta de Ska.
footsteps echo soft, stars are shining. Cool breeze whispers past, moments never last.
Oh,
Nighttime stories told, memories unfold. In the silence find peace within the mind. Shadows dance so slow. Streetlights start to glow. Heartbeat steady drum. Find where I'm from.
uf, voy a comerme a alguien si.
Around, peaceful with no sound. In this night, I see who I'm meant to be. Nighttime stories told. Memories unfold. In the silence, find peace within the mind.
Depende, ¿no? Yo me apalanco por 10 nomás. Me apalanco por 10, pero no se tiene que mover muy lejos el precio. Es casi, en relación, es casi más o menos lo mismo. Pero es más lento, sí, es mucho más lento, ¿no? Es más para hacer trades diarios. Para hacer traders diarios. o por hora más o menos. Voy acá en esta zona de aquí. No me tomó el long porque no estaba en casa, había dejado una orden y no me la tomó. Y ya hizo la subida, pero en esa subida, por ejemplo, ya hubiese hecho el 5% ahí. En esta subida. Por un por 10. Pero claro, es más lento que el diablo. Sí, un 4% hubiese hecho ahí en esa subida. 4%, pero no me la tomó porque fue un poquito... Pensé que iba a ir un poquito más abajo y no. Igual que ahora, estoy esperándola. Recién tenía una orden un poquito más arriba, pero la quité. Porque venía bajando un poco con fuerza y no he visto los fundamentales de hoy. Vi que Rusia y China están en acuerdo, que Inglaterra y Estados Unidos también. Aquí lo estuve viendo en el de las noticias este.
Surplus, but of course that counts gold bullion, which is, so let's just call it balanced trade. So how do you open up the market in balanced trade? People think it's impossible. They've always thought it was impossible until President Trump came on the scene and changed the way things work. So here's what we've got. We've opened up new market access. Ethanol, beef, machinery, all the agricultural products. They've agreed to open their markets, and that will add $5 billion of opportunity to American exports. So the question is, why would they do that now? Because they've never done it before, and we still have our 10% tariff on, which will produce $6 billion of revenue for the United States. So the idea was, how do they keep their jobs, protect their economy, and do the best for their people while opening the market for us? And the way is they studied it. Their team was exceptional, and they tried to figure out the markets that they're importing from other people and try to send them over to America. So why were they always favoring others and not us? And what they've done is they've found ways to do that so that we have new access, right? The UK workers are protected, and that was the balance. So we did a deal with them in automobiles, and if you're not building here, we charge you 25% tariff. But the president, and by the way, I want to make this clear, while Jameson and I worked hard, this was the president's deal. And people think, oh, that's not the way it works. If you got to sit next to him, I have the best deal maker to my left. And if you don't think that we take advantage of him, call in the prime minister and get that deal done, you don't understand who's the president of the United States. So he's the closer. He gets deals done that we could never get done because he understands business, he understands deals. That's why we're here today. So we agreed they could send 100,000 cars into America and only pay a 10% tariff. And that protects their car industry. And remember, we do 16 million cars a year. So this is only like 0.6%. But for the UK auto people, this is tens of thousands of jobs that the president agreed that he would protect for them. So he made that deal, right? Then steel and aluminum, right? Their steel business has been destroyed like everybody else has been destroyed by people dumping steel into their markets. And British Steel had announced it was closing down. So the British government, as part of this deal, nationalized British Steel, and they're going to match the kinds of models we do. They'll put tariffs on, they'll put quotas on. They want to do it with America so they can be part of the resurgence of steel and aluminum in America. And that saves them, again, thousands and thousands thousands of jobs. So if you go step by step, aero and commercial planes, they sell Rolls-Royce engines to Boeing. We've agreed to let Rolls-Royce engines and those kind of plane parts to come over tariff-free. And what you're going to hear today is there's going to be an announcement in the UK that they are buying $10 billion worth of Boeing planes later today, but I'm going to let the name of the airline announce it because that's theirs to do. And part of this deal was always to do it together and to do it strong. And you can see the numbers on this board.
Y mucho menos
Everything about this board
estresantes.
works exceptionally well for the United States of America. It lays
Perdón
out the plan
por no
that
estar
you can
atento
work
mucho
with
al
us
chat,
in
pero
autos, you can work with us with aero and commercial.
estoy
You can work
revisando
with us with
cosillas.
pharmaceuticals if you have a supply chain that is secure and protected in national security. So we feel really good about the deal. You've heard the Prime Minister. He feels really good about the deal, right? And we started at 10% and we ended at 10%. And the market for America is better. And this is a perfect example of why Donald Trump produced Liberation Day. People don't understand. He gets things done in a matter of time. This would have taken Jameson and I 3 years, maybe. And instead, we got it done in 45 days, certainly, because we worked for Donald Trump. So, Jameson, my partner in all this, maybe Jameson would like to talk a little, and then we'll turn it over to the UK.
Sure, happy to do that, everyone. Great remarks. I just have to echo the President and Prime Minister when we talk about VE Day. This is something we've been waiting for decades, and there's no more appropriate day to do this. When we step back and we look back a few weeks from now, or months from now, or years from now, we're look back at this day and better appreciate the significance, I think. And I'll just say as well, in terms of negotiating, I mean, the UK negotiators, you know, we've got one right here, did an incredible job, right? This is why you've been warned, right? When you act like this, the ambassador, he knows more about trade than a lot of us do here. And I would say on this deal, Mr. President, what we've shown is that it is time to change the way we trade. People said we couldn't do a global tariff. We did a global tariff. They said no one would want to deal with us. People want to deal. They said no one give offers. You saw that stack of offers I showed you yesterday for all those countries.
Atentos a este gran anuncio comercial de Estados Unidos, este acuerdo con Reino Unido, con mensaje, por cierto, en sus redes sociales por parte de Donald Trump. El presidente de Estados Unidos está poniendo lo que ven en sus pantallas. Dice: hoy es un día increíble para Estados Unidos. Logramos nuestro primer acuerdo comercial justo, abierto y recíproco. Algo que a nuestros presidentes anteriores nunca les importó. Junto con nuestro fuerte aliado Reino Unido hemos alcanzado el primer acuerdo comercial histórico desde el día de la liberación. Como parte de este acuerdo, Estados Unidos recaudará $6.000 millones en ingresos externos provenientes de aranceles del 10%, $5.000 millones en nuevas oportunidades de exportación para nuestros grandes ganaderos, agricultores y productores, y mejorará la seguridad nacional tanto de Estados Unidos como de Reino Unido mediante la creación de una zona de comercio de aluminio y acero y una cadena de suministro farmacéutica segura. Este acuerdo, dice Trump, demuestra que si se respeta a Estados Unidos y se presentan propuestas serias, Estados Unidos está abierto a los negocios, muchos más por venir. Estén atentos. Primera reacción de Donald Trump en sus redes sociales, este acuerdo con Reino Unido, mientras nosotros tenemos que mirar rápidamente a Alemania. Friedrich Merz salió canciller hace apenas 2 días, salió en segunda votación, como saben, con fracaso histórico, el primer canciller desde la Segunda Guerra Mundial que no consiguió obtener los votos necesarios en la primera vuelta. Pues ojo, porque empieza a tomar medidas. El canciller alemán, el recién nombrado Friedrich Merz, anuncia este jueves una emergencia nacional con respecto a la migración. Según informes de la fuente de noticias regional, el diario Welt, citando embajadores de países vecinos, Merz está declarando la emergencia nacional migratoria en Alemania. El gobierno alemán planea invocar el artículo 72 del Tratado de Funcionamiento de la Unión Europea. Esta medida suspendería el acuerdo de Dublín y permitiría una mayor vigilancia fronteriza, incluyendo la denegación de asilo. Muy atentos a esta última hora desde Alemania. Friedrich Merz declarando el estado de emergencia nacional migratoria en Alemania. Nosotros vamos a seguir con el análisis. Tenemos a Alberto Iturralde, responsable de operativa DAX. Muchísimos frentes, muchas cosas que comentar en el día de hoy. ¿Qué tal? Buenas, Alberto, buenas tardes.
Muy buenas tardes.
Bueno, pues antes de nada, quiero saber tu primera valoración de este anuncio de Donald Trump, el primer acuerdo comercial justo, dice él, y sorpresas con Reino Unido, ¿no? Con el principal socio, el principal aliado de Estados Unidos.
Bueno, estamos hablando de un acuerdo de de 6.000 millones de dólares, en teoría, que veremos cuál es la reciprocidad, y el presidente de los Estados Unidos tiene que dedicar tanta ceremonia para celebrar, anunciar ese acuerdo. Tenemos que plantearnos cuál es el problema que tiene interno de sensación de falta de legitimidad para que deba hacer un acuerdo de esa magnitud tan reducido y presentarlo como si fuera la solución de los problemas del planeta. Entonces, veremos encima con el que es teóricamente su socio histórico principal, es el tercer tenedor de deuda estadounidense. En el momento que se produjo aquel día de la liberación, ni siquiera tampoco fijó aranceles especialmente agresivos para Reino Unido, y ahora nos anuncia un acuerdo en el que habla de 6.000 millones que recaudará el gobierno de Estados Unidos. No sé, han descubierto el planeta 9 o algo así. Y hay que plantearse que cuando un presidente está todos los días teniendo que reivindicarse, como Donald Trump, es porque no tiene tan clara su posición en su propio país. ¿Vale? Que tiene unas elecciones midterm dentro de año y medio que son muy importantes. Pero si vamos a estar así durante año y medio, vamos a acabar empalagadísimos de Donald Trump. ¿De acuerdo? Realmente lo importante es el que acuerde con China. Ese es el clave. O con la Unión Europea. Si es que la Unión Europea no va a poner sanciones a las compañías de servicios estadounidenses que se lucran en Europa. Un acuerdo con Reino Unido en el que 6.000 millones de dólares recaudará. No sé, igual es que yo soy muy escéptico, pero lo veo bastante flojo como para hacer esa ceremonia.
Bueno, pues muy atentos a esta ceremonia. Enseguida volvemos a conectar con Donald Trump mientras el foco geopolítico está puesto en las tensiones entre India y Pakistán. Les contábamos esta mañana un nuevo ataque por parte de India, pues ojo a esta última hora. Según la agencia Reuters, varios testigos están hablando de destellos rojos y proyectiles en el cielo nocturno sobre la ciudad de Jammu, es decir, en la Cachemira, India, donde tuvo lugar el atentado de Pahalgam el pasado 22 de abril, que se saldó con 26 fallecidos. Funcionarios de Estados Unidos dicen que el avión J-10 de fabricación china de Pakistán derribó al menos 2 aviones indios este miércoles. Hablaba de que en el ataque de este martes, en el ataque de este 7 de abril, al parecer se habrían derribado 5 aviones indios. Ahora funcionarios estadounidenses hablan de 2 aviones derribados. Pendientes sobre todo de la última hora en torno a la Cachemira India, se habla de explosiones, de destellos rojos. Estamos muy atentos a esta última hora por si estuviera teniendo lugar otro nuevo ataque por parte de Pakistán. Y Alberto, te quiero preguntar por esto, en lo que refiere a la geopolítica. Donald Trump también seguro está muy preocupado por estas tensiones entre dos potencias nucleares, también con todo lo que hay en juego, ¿no? Con el acercamiento de Pakistán a China, el entendimiento de Pakistán y China, con India, que es uno de los miembros más importantes de los BRICS, también acercándose a Estados Unidos. ¿Cómo valoras tú esta tensión entre India y Pakistán?
Bueno, hay algo muy importante. En primer lugar, los mercados financieros, la renta variable no se está desplomando. Estamos hablando de 2 países nucleares. Si la bolsa no está cayendo, es que en principio el mercado considera, y el mercado es bastante astuto, bastante sabio. Pocas cosas suceden en el mundo sin que el sistema financiero no las tenga previstas. Entonces, si el mercado no se está desplomando, es porque considera que esas tensiones van a continuar dentro de un orden. Ataques mutuos, pero nada que pueda tener que ver con una escalada nuclear. Lo cual, en el caso de Pakistán, hasta cierto punto habría que tener especial cuidado, porque el hecho de que se haya cerrado el acceso al agua del Indo, es decir, se haya cortado el Indo en zonas indias y no llegue el agua a Pakistán, coloca a este país en una situación muy delicada. Lo que sí que es importante es entender que hasta ahora no habíamos visto a cazas chinos en combate real, ni cuál era su eficacia ni su desempeño. Y por ahora van ganando por goleada, no así los franceses. Con lo cual, mientras la bolsa no se desplome, eso es muy importante, lo lógico es que esas hostilidades continúen muy controladas, por así decirlo. Lo cual nos debe hacer también preguntarnos lo casual de que no hayamos oído hablar de las históricas disputas entre Pakistán e India durante los últimos, pongamos el caso, 5 años, y sin embargo de repente se han desatado con una violencia brutal justo cuando hay un especial interés en mantener dividido BRICS, justo cuando Gran Bretaña pierde muchísima fuerza en el ámbito internacional, y habría que preguntarse quién está accionando detrás de las cortinas para que estos dos países de repente se ataquen mutuamente como no habríamos podido imaginar hace un mes, por poner un ejemplo.
Pues sí, habrá que saber qué intereses hay detrás de esta escalada, también ver, bueno, pues hasta dónde llega, si hay alguien que consigue mediar entre estos dos países con la importancia que tiene, ¿no? Como decimos, con dos potencias nucleares. Te quiero preguntar también, Alberto, por el día de mañana, ¿no? Por este gran desfile del Día de la Victoria en Moscú, las amenazas de Zelensky de que los líderes mundiales no estaban seguros y, bueno, pues esta tregua anunciada por el presidente ruso Vladimir Putin. Quiero saber qué esperas de mañana con Rusia en esta demostración de fuerza, ¿no? Demostrando que no está aislada, y con estas amenazas de Zelensky, con los líderes europeos que están intentando impedir pues que Fico o incluso Vučić pudiesen viajar a Moscú. ¿Qué esperas para mañana? Desde luego hay muchos temas.
Bueno, estamos viviendo en Rusia la conmemoración de la eliminación de los nazis, a los que Rusia contribuyó con 27 millones de vidas. Y por otro lado, estamos viendo una celebración en la que participa Ucrania, un régimen muy cercano al mundo nazi, y también Alemania, que apoya al régimen nazi. Con lo cual, cualquiera diría que por un lado estamos viendo una celebración de la caída del régimen nazi, sería obviamente en Rusia, y por otro estamos viendo un lamento de que haya caído el régimen nazi, porque Europa, y si no miren ustedes las leyes de censura que se quieren imponer, cada vez está más cerca de parecerse a la Alemania nazi. De manera que veremos si finalmente Zelensky va a realizar algún tipo de baladronada, es decir, algún tipo de ataque inopinado contra Moscú. Si lo hace, le va a caer el infierno encima. De hecho, ya muchos miembros del gobierno de Zelensky han huido temporalmente de Ucrania por lo que pueda pasar. Recuerden ustedes que ahora mismo las decisiones de Zelensky las guía la mano británica, con lo cual no les extrañe que mañana tengamos una sorpresa fuera de lugar en ese desfile, aunque en principio es poco probable, y de hecho Donald Trump ya le ha advertido, porque fíjense ustedes qué papelón el de Estados Unidos, que ha vuelto otra vez a enviar armas a Ucrania, si por lo que sea se produce una desgracia en ese desfile. Es decir, estaríamos ayudando, los estadounidenses en este caso, a un país que en un desfile conmemorativo realiza ataques que obviamente son de orden civil. No estamos hablando de ninguna condecoración del ejército ruso ni nada por el estilo. De manera que veremos mañana qué es lo que sucede. Le han dado 4 días de descanso a Zelensky, veremos si los aprovecha o los desperdicia.
Bueno, pues mañana el mundo mirando a la Plaza Roja, el mundo mirando a Moscú, este desfile del Día de la Victoria, y sobre todo, bueno, pues todo lo que esto significa con el presidente chino Xi Jinping, que hoy ha departido mucho, más de 7 horas con Vladimir Putin. Muchísimas gracias, Alberto, como siempre, por estar con nosotros. Un placer, como siempre, tenerte por aquí. Muchas gracias. Muy buen día. Nosotros volvemos a mirar al presidente de Estados Unidos, Donald Trump, hablando sobre los aranceles a China, sobre si quiere llegar o no a un acuerdo con Europa. Escuchamos al presidente de Estados Unidos.
Describe this deal as a full and comprehensive deal, and yet we've just had from the semantics that it's the end of the beginning. Clearly, there's much more work still to do. With respect, are you overstating the reach and significance of this deal? Because you're a president who needs a result at a difficult time.
I think that it's a great deal for both parties. It's for us. We're opened up. I didn't know how closed it was. Quite closed, the market, as you know, the UK, and it opens up a tremendous market for us, and it works out very well. And a lot of assets. You see the chart, and those are tremendous assets. But we've been trying, and when you say why us, meaning your country, we've been trying for years, and they've been trying for years to make a deal, including when I was in the, first term. It would always be people talking, but they weren't getting it done. But for 25 years before that, they were trying always to make a deal, a very significant deal. I actually, until I looked at the numbers, I didn't realize this is a very conclusive deal, but we think we can grow it even from from that. But this is a maxed out deal, not like you said it. You said it really incorrectly. This is a maxed out deal that we're going to make bigger, and we make it bigger through growth. But we have tremendous assets involved. I was surprised to see how big your country is in trade, actually. One of the biggest in technology and so many other things. It's agriculture. I really didn't know. It's depending on your definition, it's from 4 to 5 to 6. That's pretty big in the world. So I was very impressed by that. But we're going to take it to new levels. It's a very big deal right now, but I think it is going to grow just of its own volition. It's going to grow, and over time there'll be changes made, there'll be adjustments made because we're flexible. We'll see things that we can do even better. But it's very conclusive, and we think everyone's going to be happy, and the people of your country are going to be very impressed with the result. And they'll be able to buy from more people. They'll be able to price things differently. They'll be able to get some products that aren't available to them now that we make better than anybody in the world. And it's just something that it's a great thing that it came together. It's so nice because we have many countries want to make a deal, and many countries are very unhappy that we happen to choose this one, to be honest with you. But long time, our oldest ally, or just about. Just a couple of people claim that too, but let's put it right at the top. I think it's going to be something very special for UK and special for the United States.
Thank you, Mr. President. Reagan Reese with the Daily Caller. How close are you to more deals, and when do you expect the next to be announced?
Well, very close. We have numerous deals. I know Howard's going back as soon as this is finished. Your press conference, he's got numerous. And Scott, who's right over here, who's fantastic, by the way. We were great on television this morning. I watched you. Gave them a little lesson in the world and economics. But Scott's going to be going to Switzerland, meeting with China, and they very much want to make a deal. We can all play games. Who made the first call? Who didn't make the? It doesn't matter. It only matters what happens in that room. But I will tell you that China very much wants to make a deal. We'll see how that works out. Every country throughout the last 40, 50 years has literally ripped off the United States on trade, on military, on protection, on all the different things. And we are now making fair deals. And in this case, it's great because we really weren't very much involved. You have the European Union, which is, I think you made the right decision years ago. I don't know if you remember, I was opening up Turnberry the day that you were voting, and they asked me, would it happen or would it not happen? I said, no, I think they're going to go their own separate way. I think it's better for them. And they did. I think it's going to end up being a very smart decision. But a big part of that decision was always that you'd be able to make a deal with the United States, and they were unable to do that. But now they made it, and it's a tremendous, it's very important. And that was always a big part of your decision on Brexit. And they were never able to make that deal. It was a tough one. And this one it's amazing with time. This one just went very smoothly, went quickly and smoothly. And a lot of common sense, as I like to say. There's tremendous common sense, but it's going to make your country much bigger in terms of trade, and it's going to make our country much bigger in terms of trade too. Yes,
Thank you. Tom Bateman at the BBC. Thank you, Mr. President. You mentioned meat. The BBC.
Oh, good. Very nice. They treat me beautifully.
You mentioned meat and beef exports. The UK currently doesn't accept American beef because of its own food standards. Are you calling on the UK to accept all American beef and chicken products?
Well, I think they'll take what they want. We have plenty of it. We have every type. We have every classification you can have. As you know, Bobby Kennedy is doing a tremendous job, and he's, I think, probably heading toward your system with no chemical, no this, no that. I think we're heading that way. It seems to be. And but we have that also. So we're a very big country. We have a lot of beef. We're a very big country, so it'll be great. Yes. Yeah.
Let's talk about American beef really quickly, and it can't be understated. I'm Brooke Rollins, by the way, how important this deal is and what this means to American farmers and ranchers. Specific to the beef, this is going to exponentially increase increase our beef exports. And to be very clear, American beef is the safest, the best quality, and the crown jewel of American agriculture for the world. So I think a really important part of this deal isn't just the ethanol reducing of tariffs from 19 to 0, which for our row croppers is a huge deal, but also for beef. And as we move forward, I know our incredible trade team is looking at all of the meats, all of the produce, really all of our agriculture exports. And I don't know if there's an industry that has been treated more unfairly and has suffered more than our agriculture industry. So we look forward to, I'll be in the UK on Monday, talking to my counterpart over there for next week, and I look forward to moving that out across the country. The president is
I think we could say that we have the best in the world, best tractors, the best everything in the world, and they say that our agriculture is, second to none. You understand, and it'll be a great asset. People are going to be able to have options, choice, and they'll have more of it. And that usually means lower prices. How about we'll do you and then you? Go ahead.
Question for the Italian TV, Daniele Compatangelo, LA7, TV 2000, Primetime Media. So congratulations for the deal. We see a big revenues from the chart. But what's the rest of Europe? It's a victory day, but other European countries, it seems like they're losing the train.
We decided to make a deal with Europe. We have found that the European Union treated us extremely unfairly, very difficult, and hurt themselves in doing so. And they very much want to make a deal. We'll be dealing with them. We are dealing with them currently. So that'll cover pretty much the rest of it. But this was separate because of Brexit in particular. This was a separate deal. It always seems so natural. I mean, all the media would say that this seemed to be like, why didn't this happen 25 years? Why didn't it happen a long time ago? And it was always amazing to me. Somebody would say, hey, we got to make a deal. We have to make a deal. But this deal just fell into place. The Prime Minister did a fantastic job. His representatives are total professionals, and they got along well, and it just seemed to work. And I think one of the reasons it did is because we blew up the whole system. If we would have just been dealing with you separately, or country by country, we blew up the whole system. It was very fair to very unfair to the United States. And I think because of that, this worked out so nicely, and I'm honored that it was the first deal. Please.
Sir, you mentioned.
Well, why don't you go in the back? Yes.
Oh, thank you, sir. I'm with the London Times. I would say this is a great day for James Bond because now Aston Martins will be available to American buyers. Clearly, even better by extending it to film. You've talked about a big tariff on films, and we'd like to know if there'd be relief on British.
Well, we're going to have a discussion on that separately, and as you know, we're putting tariffs on that particular film. You said the movie makers, and we're going to be doing some tariffs to get them because a lot of them have left this country. They all live here. The money comes from here. Everything comes from here, but they make them in other countries. So we're going to do something to bring them back, maybe to a large extent. But James Bond has nothing to worry about that, I can tell you. James, and Sean Connery was a friend of mine. Sean Connery was responsible for my getting zoning in Aberdeen. He said, let the bloody bloke build his golf courses. I was like 4 years into the process, and it was impossible in Aberdeen. And he just stood up one day and he said that. As soon as he said that, I got the approvals in about 2 minutes. So he was a great guy, Sean Connery, and great character.
Later in the year, you go to Scotland and to the.
I will be sure. We have a lot of investment over there. We have Turnberry, Aberdeen. We have, as you know, in Doonbeg in Ireland, right on the ocean. They're all on the ocean. I only have interest if they're on the ocean. And we have good investments over there. It's beautiful. Yes?
Mr. President, if the talks go well this weekend between Secretary Best and Ambassador Freeman, your Chinese counterparts, not preemptively, if the talks go well, would you then consider lowering the tariff rate on China?
Well, it could be. I mean, we're going to see right now. You can't get any higher. It's at 145, so we know it's coming down. I think we're going to have a very good relationship. I always got along very well with President Xi. That relationship was greatly disturbed by COVID when COVID came in, but we get along very well now. I mean, the relationship was hurt with a lot of people, a lot of countries when COVID came in. But I think we're going to have a very good relationship. I expect to have a very good relationship with China, Scott. I think it's a very friendly meeting. They look forward to doing it in an elegant way. China, as you know, has a tremendous trade surplus with us, and we just can't have that. And you know, one of the big things here is, and nobody would know this, but the UK was largely closed. It was very much closed to trade, and now it's open. And a lot of the financial reporters are very happy about that because that's so much. I listened to them. I hope they get countries opened up, and then you compete on a fair basis. But you can't compete when you're not allowed to go there. China would be the number one example of that. You know, it's very closed. We almost had it last time before COVID, and that didn't work out. But we made a great deal with China. They had to buy $50 billion worth of our food products, and it was a great deal, doing very well for our farmers. And then when Biden came in, as usual, nothing happened. You know, he didn't enforce it, and it got less, and ultimately, you know, it destroyed a great deal. That was a great deal. But no, I think that we're gonna have a good weekend with China. I think they have a lot to gain. I do think they have far more to gain than we do in a sense, but we're gonna have a very good weekend.
After the weekend talk?
I might, yeah, sure. Depending on what Scott says, we Scott is doing certain countries and Howard's doing certain countries. I mean, I wish I had like 10 more of each. Then we could do them all at one time. But there will be a time we'll do a number of them, and then there'll be a time. I think I can say to Scott and Howard, where we're just going to say, because we understand the countries, we understand what they want, where we're just going to make the deal. In other words, we don't need the country involvement because we've already had it. And we'll say this particular country, which had big surpluses, let's say, we had therefore deficits, that this particular country is going to pay a 25% tariff or 30% or 50% or 10% or whatever it may be. I think we should explain it now. One of the things we did here that we'll rarely do is on cars, we took it from 25 to 10 on Rolls-Royce because Rolls-Royce is not going to be built here. I didn't even ask them to do that. You know, it's a very special car, and it's a very limited number too. It's not, you know, one of the monster car companies that makes millions of cars. They make a very small number of cars that are super luxury, and that includes Bentley and Jaguar. So we have some very special cars. So in order to help that industry, and that's really.
Escuchaban al presidente de Estados Unidos, Donald Trump, disparando los mercados a tenor de estas declaraciones. Se abre a reunirse con Xi Jinping, habla de las conversaciones de este fin de semana en Suiza, las conversaciones a las que va a asistir el secretario del Tesoro de Estados Unidos, estas conversaciones entre China y Estados Unidos, y abre la mano, tiende la mano a China. Dice que los aranceles no pueden seguir en el 145%, no pueden subir más. Dice además que podrían bajar si las conversaciones con China marchan bien. Dice que el comercio, que el trato con China debe ser
David.
justo, que el presidente sí es muy inteligente.
Después lo voy a probar.
Muy buena relación hasta
Lo he usado, no me acuerdo. Es que he usado tantas cosas que no me acuerdo, David.
sábado, y sobre todo tiende la mano a China. Dice que
Ahí se ve bien las operaciones en tiempo real y hay un mapa de liquidez también. Mira.
por encima de los 100
Utilicé Trading Different una vez, pero era de pago.
a los mercados. Seguimos escuchando
Y
Estados Unidos.
no sé si ese lo he usado.
Over a trillion, 1.1 trillion in my opinion.
Ya lo voy a
Billion to a trillion or
a revisar.
1.1 trillion. And frankly, if we didn't do business, we would have been better off. Okay, you understand that. So when you say it slowed down, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. But we're going to make it so they can. I'd like to say they can do better, actually, in terms of the bottom line. We'd like to see China opened up so we can compete in China and, you know, give people something that they've never had, you know, access to something. That'd be great for the world. It would be great for our businesses. And I think it would be great for friendship. I really expect a lot of people think I'm a militant guy. I'm really not. I think that trade can bring a greater friendship with China. It can be something good. But, you know, one of the things that I know Scott's going to be talking about very high on the list is open up and let our businesses go into China, because when you talk about a closed country, that's a really closed country. And I think it would be great if it was opened up, give people a lot of choice, and would create a lot of
Sí, lo debo haber usado porque lo tengo.
thing for China. And that's going to be one of the things we'll be
Ahora te digo.
discussing, like we discussed with UK. Yeah, please.
But what does Britain have to do to use your baseline 10% tariff?
Well, I think that's set because that has to do with a lot of different things, including past. You know, there are a lot of past things that we've done. This is very inclusive. We included everything. And that's pretty well said. Yeah, please.
Yeah, Mr. President, the 10% baseline tariff remaining in place, is that a template for these future trade deals?
No.
We're going to keep it here?
No.
Is it going to stay in every case?
No, that's a low number. They made a good deal. Some will be much higher because they have massive trade surpluses, and in many cases they didn't treat us right. One thing with UK, they had somewhat closed, not.
Sí, sí lo he usado. Está bueno, pues me había olvidado de usarlo. Está bueno para ponerlo en vivo, porque va rápido. Para que tiki tiki tiki.
The last time that happened, I ended up buying a Tesla.
Thank you. Mary Margaret Ollaham with Daily Wire. I had a question about the UK deal today. I heard there was talk that part of the agreement would depend on whether the UK would respect free speech and freedom of religion. I know the VP is really interested in that, talked about that earlier this year. Was there any assurances that you guys got on that front?
You want to handle that?
Yeah, that was not part of the conversation. Our conversation was an economic conversation from start to finish, closed by the president yesterday. This was a business deal, open their markets, and also protect their workers, grow our markets, and help our workers.
This was about business religion. Business is so semi-religion, but not nearly as important. I don't want to get myself in.
Mr. President, will you be asking China to help you close, the gap between Ukraine and Russia?
I think so. Yeah. I think it's a natural thing to ask.
What do you expect?
Sure. I don't know. I think we're making good progress. Fighting is a little bit different than it was. I think if we weren't involved, Russia would be, going at it to maybe get the whole thing without our involvement. They'd be able to get it. So we supplied a lot of different things, foolishly, but we've been sort of paid back by doing the rare earth deal that I talked about before. I think that we will be very much involved in trying to get that bloodbath. It's a bloodbath. It's a horrible situation. 5,000. It's really more than that. But it's 5,000 soldiers on average a week, mostly soldiers, are being killed. Young, beautiful people. I mean, they're being killed. I see the satellite pictures coming back, body parts lying all over fields, heads and arms. It's so terrible. I've never seen anything like it, actually. And if we can get that stopped, that will be a great accomplishment. And we're trying very hard. And I think we're close. And Mr. Witkoff is talking constantly back and forth. He's a real professional. He's got a great relationship with both countries. And I think we have a good chance. And likewise, we're trying to work on Iran to get that solved without having to get into any bombing, as we say, big bombing. I don't want to do that. I want them to work together. I want them to be very successful.
Mr. President, Edward Lawrence from Fox Business. On the non-market barriers, how did you get the UK to bend, and what was the 11th hour deal or ask?
Well, I think it was really just a part of the overall. I mean, they have so many things that are so good for them. It's going to be so good for the country, and that was sort of easy. We had non-market, I call it non-market or non-monetary trade barriers, and we had quite a few of them. Not nearly as bad as some countries. Some countries have, they have virtually no tariff, but the rest of it is so brutal you can't do business with them, right? So it's a very important question, actually. No, I think the overall deal just worked out very well from their standpoint. They were willing to give that in order to get other things, and you might want to speak to that, Mr. Investor.
Look, the point about the deal is that we will continue reducing tariffs and non-tariff barriers. This is a continuing picture. It's a movie. It's not a still picture here. It's a movie. It continues. And we're both committed to freeing up trade between our countries. We're both committed to freeing up investment between our countries. And the point about this deal is that it provides a very good template, a very good launch pad for what we can continue to do and build on in the future. And that's what we're both determined to do.
You know, many of the, well, what can I say? Many of the, keep it confidential. How about just one more little thing, right? They got the deal closed, and it was handled very well from the other side too. But many of these things that we're talking about, we've been talking about this for 25 years. It's hard to explain when, if you weren't sitting behind this beautiful Resolute desk, you just wouldn't get it. I have been hearing about making a deal with UK for 25 years. And especially around the time of Brexit, they wanted to make a deal, so they came out of Brexit and they make a deal, and how natural. And it just couldn't be done. It couldn't be done. Good people. And this is a bigger deal. This is a much bigger, better, stronger deal for both of us than we ever even contemplated before. It's a big deal.
Virtually everyone said that it would end in failure, it would end in tears, and it's ended in exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
But, Mr. President, can I say that that is due to Secretary Lutnick and Ambassador Greer, who've been absolutely fantastic. But yesterday I received a call, a very diplomatic call that just edged things over the line, and that was from your new ambassador in the United Kingdom.
Who is terrific.
Warren Stevens, he's here.
Where is Warren? Right here. Hello, Warren.
He's flying to London tomorrow night. He's going to be very popular with the British people. He's going to be a very successful ambassador.
And he's got plenty of cash. You're going to go ahead. Yes. Oh, she's so fantastic. She's so fantastic. I hope we're going to meet. Yeah, the answer is yes. I saw her a few days ago. And I think that we'll definitely meet. Yeah. The European Union's big thing. They want to make a deal very badly. You know, everybody wants to make a deal. Look, everybody wants to make a deal with the United States, and we're doing that. And we're going to make fair deals. I'm just honored that this was the first one. Go ahead, please.
The Federal Reserve Chairman, Mr. President, said that you would have to call him for a meeting. What do you think about him?
It's like talking to a wall. He should be.
The Bank of England cut.
Well, the Bank of England cut, China cut, everybody's cutting but him. It's I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's a shame. I call him Too Late. Too Late Powell. That's his nickname, and it's a shame. It's ridiculous. So meeting, he's always too late. But in this case, it's not going to matter that much because our country is so strong. We're so powerful in terms of economic strength and what we've done. And I'll tell you what, if we didn't have our first term, you wouldn't be. We created things in the first term. We cut more regulations than any president in history. We cut the taxes more than anybody in history. And a very big factor is going to be the tax bill that we have right now, the one big beautiful bill, as we call it, which is all-encompassing, the biggest tax cuts ever in history, bigger than even the first time, and the incentives. Even great for the UK because it'll make us so strong that we're going to be doing more business with you. It's a very important element for taxes, for every aspect, regulation cuts. That bill is, I believe it's the biggest bill of its kind ever in the history of this country. And Speaker Johnson and Leader Thune have done an incredible job. I mean, I'll let you know we have to get a vote, but we have a lot of support for that bill. And if that happens on top of all of these trade deals that we're doing, this country will hit a point that you better go out and buy stock now. Let me tell you, this country will be like a rocket ship that goes straight up. This is going to be numbers that nobody's ever seen before. That's a very important element of all of this. If we get that. If you don't, and the Democrats are fighting it only because they want to fight. They have Trump derangement syndrome. If it was somebody else, they wouldn't fight. If you had a normal person, and some stiff sitting behind you, they'd be fine. But they have Trump derangement syndrome. Senator Schumer's become a Palestinian. Welcome. I don't know when they're going to give him the ceremony, whatever the ceremony may be. It's terrible what's happened to the Democrats. So, very, very important element of everything, of what we're doing, unrelated to today, but related in the sense that we'll do, if that passes, we'll do even more business with the UK. We'll have so much. It's the biggest tax cut in history. It's going to make our country zoom. It's going to be incentive, as you know, with the deduction for basically for work. You work, you build, you plant, etc. Deduction. It's going to be the biggest.
Sí, por más que le meta líneas, no se quiere parar. Yo le pongo las líneas esperando que se pare y no se quiere parar ahí. Sigue su camino. Esta decías, ¿no? Sí, la había usado antes.
As opposed to a surgeon. I think she graduated first in her class at Stanford. And Bobby really thought she was great. I don't know her. I listened to the recommendation of Bobby. I met her yesterday and once before. She's a very outstanding person, a great academic, actually. So I think she'll be great.
Your nominee for U.S. Attorney of D.C. Do you have a backup plan if this Senate does not?
But he's a terrific person, and he wasn't getting the support from people that I thought, and he's done a very good job. Crime is down 25% in D.C. During his period of time. I'm very disappointed in that, but I have so many different things that I'm doing now with the trade. You know, I'm one person. I can only I can only lift that little phone so many times in a day. But we have somebody else that will be great. I just want to say Ed is unbelievable, and hopefully we can bring him into whether it's DOJ or whatever in some capacity, because really outstanding. To me, it was disappointing, I'll be honest. I have to be straight. I was disappointed. A lot of people were disappointed, but that's the way it works sometimes. You know, that's the way it works. And he wasn't rejected, but we felt it would be hard. And we have somebody else that we'll be announcing over the next 2 days who's going to be great.
Companies like Ford and Mattel basically saying they're going to raise prices on certain products. How long do you think the American public will be patient?
Well, I think they're saying that just to try and negotiate deals with me. Look, tariffs are the most misunderstood thing maybe in any form of business, anywhere in business. Oftentimes the country picks them up. Oftentimes the company picks it up. The people don't pick it up. Okay, the people don't pick it up. And if Ford did that, they wouldn't sell any cars. And if Mattel, I don't know, I'm not so sure. They also said they're the only country I've heard. They said, well, we're going to go counter. We're going to try going someplace else. That's okay. Let him go, and we'll put 100% tariff on his toys, and he won't sell.
Está emocionado el Bitcoin.
And that's their biggest market. I heard that. I mean, I watched this guy talking about how I'm going to go counter. I said, well, I wouldn't want to have him as an executive too long. The Ford people I know very well. What they're doing is negotiating with us by saying that. But we don't think that's going to happen. Look, I put out a truth today, and it said that gas is down, gasoline is down, energy is down, groceries are down, eggs are down. I mean, eggs, thank you very much, but eggs are down. When I came in the first week, you guys hit me with eggs. I said, what the hell happened with eggs? Eggs were up like 170% and going up, and don't order any for Easter. And we were thinking about ordering plastic eggs like everybody was doing. And Brooke did a fantastic job, agriculture. Brooke did a fantastic job. And we had hundreds of thousands of eggs out here on the lawn just 2 weeks ago at Easter. But you take a look at the cost. Energy's down. Even interest rates are down. Now, if the chairman of the Fed, Jerome, if he would lower interest rates like China did, like I think UK did, but like numerous other countries have done, it's like jet fuel. It'd be great, but he doesn't want to do it. I think he doesn't want to do it. Probably he's not in love with me. I think that's right. It's sort of a crazy reason, but that's the way life is. Anybody in his position would be like, it would be like jet fuel. But even without that, we're doing well. But remember this, you know, I've watched you people reporting over the last few months that if we do this, you know, price prices are going to go through. Well, groceries are down. All of the stuff is down. Lumber is down. Oil is gone. I mean, we have that thing broke 60, right? $60 a barrel, and $98, $1.98, $1.99 in some cases, and heading in that direction. No, I think it's been amazing, actually. You know, and what that's good for, it gives the consumer more money, and it gives them a better life, because we just came out of the worst inflation, in my opinion, in the history of our country. They say 48 years. But Biden really screwed it up. He screwed up energy, and he also he spent too much money. He was spending it on, green new scam, and that's like throwing the money. See that beautiful window behind? Take money, throw it right out that window, because it's the same thing. He spent $10 trillion. He wasted it. Not only was it bad, it was a negative. It wasn't even like it helped a little bit. It was a real negative. And then on top of it, they let 21 million people into our country without any identification, anything, just let them in. It's very, very sad. Well, we'll do one or two more. Who are you with?
I'm with the Daily Telegraph. Now, you know me from
I do.
How concerned are you about UK's reliance on China? Chinese money market, Chinese exports.
We're not concerned.
Is that something?
Honestly, I'm not concerned about anything. If I was, I wouldn't even be here right now. If I was concerned about anything, and it wouldn't be that, but I wouldn't be here right now. No, we're not concerned. We're going to have, I believe, a very good relationship with China, and a fair relationship, and it'll get bigger and it'll grow. It'll grow. As an example, if they open up the country, that'll be the best thing China ever did for itself. They don't know that yet, because it's been a different system. But that'll be the greatest thing that ever happened to China. The people will be happier. They'll buy for less. They'll see things that they never saw before, and they'll be buying them. And it'll really create great long-term peace.
And if I could ask one of the agriculture sectors, actually, there's a lot of concern about chlorinated chicken, the import of treated beef. Has that question been addressed, resolved in these talks, or is that something continuing negotiations?
Well,
James.
I would just say that it's very clear, and we have in the heads of terms that we are going to discuss all of these types of issues, and obviously the importing country, whether it's us or them, you got to follow the rules on those types of things. But our point is the rules need to make sure that they are based on science, and that's our expectation. We know the UK believes that too, so we want to come to an accommodation. We want the consumers in each country to be able to choose what they want and give the information that they want.
We have an incredible EPA led by Administrator Zeldin that is on this. So the talks continue, but we are very, very confident in our products, and what the president has done to open up the markets is unprecedented for these farmers here in America.
Well, now it's going to really rally, because don't forget, they said this is all a pipe dream, and this is a tough one. This is, somebody would say, well, this is easy. This is much tougher, I think, than any other deal, because they've been at it for so many years, decades, trying to make this deal, and it's very conclusive, and it's a great deal, and it's a very big deal, actually. And no, this is just the beginning. We're going to be having conferences, or at some point we won't have. We just put out a statement that we just signed this country, that country, and after a number of these are done, nobody has enough people to do it. We're just going to put out X country is going to pay this, and if they open up, they're going to do this and that, and then they're going to be open up. Everybody wants to be here. I say this is where they want to be shopping. They want to shop in this country because we have the consumer, and we have the consumer like nobody else. And if this country went bad, the whole world would go bad. But we really saved it from going bad. Yeah, please.
So can I ask you about the air traffic control issue? Are you looking at getting new software?
I'm glad you asked me about it, because I'm just going to be talking to now with the heads of the airlines and everything else. So I was all set before we had the rigged election to give out a brand new gorgeous system to one company that was going to do the whole thing, one of the best companies in the world that you know very well. There are 3 or 4 of them that do it. And when they took over, Buttigieg, who has no clue, he drives to work on his bicycle with his, in all fairness, with his husband on the back, which is a nice, loving relationship. But he didn't have a clue. This guy didn't have a clue. And he's actually a contender for president. Between him and Crockett, you can have that party. But he didn't know what he was doing. And he took what they call dry systems where you have wires in the earth, buried in the earth or whatever. And then you have the open air systems where you have satellites. And you can't mesh them. Anybody would know that if you went through about 2 months of study in school, if you studied that kind of thing. And he did. They spent tens of billions of dollars trying to take old, broken equipment and merging it into existing new equipment with brand new equipment. It's one of the greatest. They spent like $40 billion. And what they did is they made it worse because it doesn't work together. You can't make it work together. If you have a satellite system, you need satellite. If you don't, they had all these different technologies, some of them 50 years old, and they're trying to mesh them in. And they end up spending twice the money they should have. You could have bought a whole new system. So we have a very good guy who you all know, Sean Duffy, is head of transportation. And I've given him a 10-minute lesson in buying, and he's become really good. And we are now in the market to buy a gorgeous, brand new system. The helicopter that crashed into the plane at 400 feet, it shouldn't have been. What would have happened is all sorts of bells and sirens would have been going off 3 minutes before that accident happened if you had the right equipment, but they did. And the new equipment is unbelievable what it does. You can have, you don't even, well, I was going to say something, but you always, in my opinion, you always need pilots. I want pilots, but you wouldn't even have to have pilots. This system is so incredible what they can do, but we have a system that's obsolete. And what they did is the worst. They tried to combine the really old, broken stuff with the new stuff, and you can't combine it, and anybody should have known. So Biden, do you think Biden figured this out? I don't think so, fellas. Do you think he has any clue? He doesn't know what the hell's happening. So here's the story. We're going to be buying a brand new, it's going out to bid very soon, brand new state-of-the-art system that will cover the entire world. I'll give you an example. When my pilot, now I have military pilots, but prior to that, I have very good pilots, great pilots. They would land, and I won't tell you which country, but they would use the system of another country. They wouldn't even use the system of the United States. So if I'm landing in New York or Florida or Tennessee, they're using a system from another country. I said, why is that? And they were, they're not into business, but they're just saying, our system doesn't work, sir. And I said, boy, that's pretty sad. But we were all set to give it out to, look, you have a Raytheon and you have different companies like that, numerous companies. And you have companies that would do it, like an IBM, as an example. And you give out one deal, one contract. They gave out hundreds of contractors. They had diggers. They had non-diggers. They had people that focused on satellites. They had hundreds of different contracts. One contract where one guy is controlling everything. You need a trench, then they dig a trench. But if you don't dig the trench, they don't blame you. What happens is you don't dig it, then they say we want a cost overrun. Now we have it all set, and we're going to be doing it. We would have done it, except that the election took a little strange turn. But the second one didn't. That was too big to rig. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Hasta aquí ha llegado esta comparecencia, este anuncio histórico del presidente de Estados Unidos, Donald Trump, anunciando el primer gran acuerdo comercial con Reino Unido. Se habla de más de 6.000 millones, querido para todos. Hablaba de conversaciones con China, de que se pueden rebajar los aranceles. También hablaba sobre Ucrania. Dice que podría utilizar a China para mediar con Rusia. También hablaba sobre Europa. Dice que quiere reunirse con Ursula von der Leyen y que además le gustaría hacer un tratado con Europa. De momento, el tratado, el acuerdo firmado a